Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Fine. What is the total strength of your section?
Sir.
How much?
92, sir.
92. Okay. So it's audible? Hello?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Fine.
sir.
Fine. Participant is 71. So we will exactly start by 5:40. Up to what time you had class now?
$6:30, sir.
ನೋಪಾ ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತವರೆಗೆ ಇತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇನ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ನೂನ್ ಸೆಷನ್
ಸರ್ ಏನ್ ಸರ್?
ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತವರೆಗೆ ಇತ್ತು?
ಸರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಸರ್ ಐಕಾರ್ದವರಿಗೆ ಇತ್ತು ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ.
ಅವ್ರದ್ದು 4:30 ವರೆಗೂ ಇತ್ತು ಸರ್.
4:30 ವರೆಗೂ ಇತ್ತಾ?
ಹಾ ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ. You people are agri students, right?
Yes, sir.
Then why your ID number is initiated by the letter AMB? It should be started with ALB. For marketing, they used to give
ಸರ್
the
ಅದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತೆ ಸರ್.
ಏನು?
ನಮ್ದು ಇವಾಗ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಂತೆ ಸರ್.
ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಯಾವ್ದರಿಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ
ಸರ್? ಇವಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲಾರ್ಗೂ ನಮ್ಮಿಂದ AMB ಅಂತ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್.
ಎಲ್ಲಾರ್ಗು ಬಿಟೆಕ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ?
ಹಾ ಸರ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ALB ಅನ್ನೋದು 1000 ತುಂಬಿದೆ ಅಂತೆ ಸರ್. ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂದ ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ.
ನಮ್ಮಿಂದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಸರ್. AMB 0001 ಇಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಸರ್.
1000 ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಅವರು
1000 ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಸರ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇವಾಗ ನ್ಯೂ ಲೆಟರ್ ಇಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಓಕೆ. Okay. It's time up. It's 5:40. We will start. and I gave my introduction regarding the rest of the course. And after that, immediately my father was hospitalized due to COVID. So now, 2 days back only, he shifted to home from the hospital. So I was not in position to take the class. For that, extremely sorry from my side. And from today, we will start with our business. And don't worry. And in time, I will going to complete the portion. And also, your regular course teacher, Dr. Ken Kalyanmurthy sir, is also 2 3 days back. He called me and he told me to continue this rest of the course. And I don't know about the and need not to bother. And I will talk to CR in detail and how to catch up the last 2 week missed classes. And I will discuss and later I will going to announce in a group regarding the special classes. And if anyone, again I am repeating, if anyone find any difficulty in understanding the concept, let me know openly, right? There is no way of going in the syllabus in a faster way. That is not benefited for me also and also for you people also. Let it be the concept, get it clear as and when you have any doubts, right? Because this is a fundamental course. You should be very thorough enough to know about all the concepts. And also it is a 2+1 course. Since it is a 2+1 course, we don't know where they will going to ask the multiple choice question. And there is no need to study the multiple choice questions separately if you are perfectly understanding the concept. And this is the basic course of all your agriculture courses. So a lot of things to deal in detail in the rest. I don't want to comment anything on about the Kalyanmurthy sir, but I know he's a champion in covering the syllabus. And if you have any doubt, and the way of teaching is different from him, because I can't follow his teaching because he is an experienced person and he is experienced about around 20 to 30 years in teaching lineup. And even though he was my teacher in UG and also he was my guide in PhD. So I'll stick on to the PowerPoint presentation. If you have any doubts, if you find any difficulty, let me know. Let it be clear, and then we will going to proceed. There is no hurry in completing the syllabus, and there is no. They have not given any time frame to complete your syllabus. And still, university are not decided to conduct your online exam. I hope your exams will be on offline only. Still, you will be having ample of time to complete the syllabus. And from today, continuously, we will deal with this course. Right? Have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Fine, fine. And can anyone quickly, for 1 or 2 minutes, can you able to glance this course till whatever the thing this have been covered till now? Who is the father of agronomy? Peter Dixon. Peter Decrescens. Fantastic. What is the meaning of agronomy? How to define agronomy?
Agar means soil. Nami
Okay.
means cultivation.
Okay.
Management of agriculture.
Management, see, agriculture, we can't say like that. Management, agriculture is a broad term. We can't say all agriculture as agronomy. Agronomy is mainly concentrating on three aspects. One, soil management, crop management, and this soil and crop management in relation to environment, that is called as agronomy. Agronomy mainly deals with the soil and crop management in relation to environment. That is called as agronomy. And agronomy is derived by the word
Latin word.
Greek. Acros means school and nomos means knowledge.
And agrame is derived from a Greek word, and agriculture is derived by Latin word. Right? Then after that, what has been covered? Be quick. Have you people forgotten? What is the meaning of tillage?
So the management of the field in a better way for preparing it for the cultivation practices. So
The mechanical manipulation of the
The
field.
What is the
condition
meaning
of
of-
soil after
Tell.
condition of soil after plowing.
Condition of
Physical manipulation of the soil by using the tools and the plows to prepare the seed, to prepare the land for seed bed.
it is the mechanical manipulation of the soil. Or simply we can say it is a manipulation of soil to prepare the seed bed. Is called as tillage. There are different types of preparatory tillage, primary tillage, secondary tillage. They are having different types of tillage. Then what is the meaning of till?
so the condition of the soil after having tillage operations, so that soil preparation is called field is called.
Tilth. Okay, that is tilth is nothing but it is the final product of the tillage. Right? All the tillage operation must be carried out to bring the soil to fine tilth. Then only we can able to say we have achieved the objective of tillage. Then the land will be kept ready for sowing. Because sowing cannot be done without bringing the soil to the fine tilth. After completing preparatory tillage, if we go for sowing, we can't expect the germination 100%. This is also required a favorable condition for germination. Favorable condition with respect to soil factor and also with respect to the environmental factors. In order to make these factors suitable for germination, we have to go for tillage to bring the soil for final tilth. Then after tillage, what you thought? Come on, yeah. Open your mouth. What? Hello?
Seeds and sowing.
What is the meaning of seed? One, please, one. Anyone?
Fertilized ovule.
It is a fertilized ovule. Okay, that is used for reproduction purpose. That is called as seed. Can anyone able to tell about the composition of the seed? Composition of seed. Very good.
Outer cotyledons.
Okay.
And
Testatagma to cotyledons, radicle and plumule, sir.
Okay, if you see the composition of the seed is composed into three parts mainly. One is endosperm, second germ, and third is bran. Germ is a portion where it gives rise to plumule and radicle. Germ. From that portion only, the plumule and radicle will going to be emerge. And bran, it is the outer covering layer of the seed. It is the outer covering layer of the seed. It's a rich source of proteins and nutrients. Whereas endosperm, it is the largest composition of the seed, where all the nutrients will going to be accumulated there from the endosperm during the time of germination. During the time of germination, the endosperm will supply the nutrients to the germ. Then from gel, the radicals and nucleus will going to be emergent. Then after
Sound is not clear. Sir, sound is not clear coming.
okay, now
Yes, sir. No. Okay, sir.
okay. Then what is the meaning of sewing? I will give you 1 or 2 minutes. You people should complete.
It is a
things-
placing of the seed at proper depth.
It is the placement of seed in a soil at a proper
sir.
depth and also in a proper method is called as sowing.
Yes,
Okay,
sir. Yes, sir.
fine. Methods of planting, whether he discussed about the method of sowing or method of planting.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Discuss it, sir.
Tell me the different methods of sowing or different methods of planting.
Direct sowing.
Line sewing.
Direct sowing.
Direct. Yes, sir. Planting and transplanting.
Okay, direct sowing,
Broadcasting.
planting.
Drilling, sir.
Okay. That includes different methods include broadcasting, line sowing, and sowing
Heel
with respect
dropping,
to
sir.
seed drill, all those things, right? Among different methods of sowing, which method of sowing is found to be more beneficial?
So transplantation.
See, transplanting is not possible with respect to all the crops.
Line
It is limited to specific group of crops. Whether with respect to, tell me,
Drilling is considered, sir.
drilling. Okay, seed drilling.
Yes, sir.
Seed drilling. Whether you go for seed drilling or line sowing, say line sowing as compared to seed drilling, line sowing. Basically, we should not forget this. Line sowing is more appropriate. Why line sowing? Line sowing can be done manually or by using the seed drilling, right? Then tell me the advantages of line sowing. Tell me why we are always insisting the farmer to go for line sowing.
easy to eliminate the weeds.
Sir, and the different nutrients and pests can also be
What madam? Repeat once again.
Sir, weed removal and inter-cultivation practices can also be like done, sir, and we can easily manage the crops and fertilizers and these
Super.
things, sir.
Keep it up.
Sir, uniform germination.
See, one thing.
Easy pest management, sir.
Okay. Let me talk now. Fine, fantastic. All your answers are excellent. Up to the mark.
High yielding,
Why
sir.
we are insisting the farmers to go for line sowing means, one is after sowing, after 10 days after germination, we should start the intercultural operation. If we go for timely intercultural operation, then only we can able to maintain the weed population below the economic threshold level. There will not be any competition of weeds for the growth resources with the croplands. Then second thing, we can able to apply the fertilizer nearer to the root zone. Second thing. Third thing, we can go for formation of herbing up. Right? Fifth thing, all the agricultural operation after the sowing, we can able to carry out without any damaging the plants, standing plants. And sixth is, we can able to maintain the optimum plant population. Suppose if there is any failure in the germination, if there is any condition which is required for gap filling, by line sowing, we can able to complete that. Suppose if we go for broadcasting, we can't able to find out whether we are maintaining the optimum plant population or not. But in case of line sowing, we can able to identify whether our required plant population is present in the field or to go for the gap filling. All these things But taking into the consideration, we are insisting the farmer to go for line sowing with respect to the majority of the crops, especially those crops which are sowing mainly under rain-fed condition. All the crops which are sowing under rain-fed condition must and should be sown in the line sowing. Whereas with respect to paddy, that is rice, and also with respect to finger millet, these are the two crops which are classified under the cereal crops. They are highly suitable for transplanting condition. Highly suitable for transplanting condition. First, they have to be raised under the nursery, and after 20 to 25 days, they have to be transplanted from nursery to the main field. Or else, in majority of the crops, we have to recommend the farmer to go for the line sowing, to take up the sowing in the line sowing condition or line sowing method, because of this various advantage. Then, after sowing in your syllabus, sowings and pattern of planting or the various arrangement of planting, that is square planting, rectangular planting, I will going to discuss in the later part of this course. Now, in this course, in this class, from now we'll start with one important chapter. See, after sowing, what the crop needs? What crop
Minerals
needs?
and elements, mineral nutrients elements.
Mineral nutrients. Immediately after the sowing, we have to irrigate the crop, right? For germination, to ensure the proper germination or to ensure the 100% germination. Okay, let us assume we have sown the crop, we have given the irrigation, the crop have been germinated successfully, and 100% plant population we have obtained. Then what crop needs? The crop needs the nutrition. And nutrient management in any crop production plays an important role, and nutrient management alone in any crop production, it contributes for 60% of the yield of the crop. Kindly remember, the nutrient management aspect in the crop production alone contributes for 60% of the yield of the crop, then followed with weed management and water management. See, nutrient management is very, very, very important burning topic and burning problem of today's agriculture. Because of the increased area under the irrigation, because of the positive benefits and also the adverse effect of irrigation, leading to the crop, leading to the soil to become deficit with one or other nutrient element. And how many nutrients are required? How many number of nutrient elements are required to complete a normal life cycle of the crop?
60.
17. 17 are required, sir.
17 or 18?
17, sir. 17.
17. Okay, fine. Earlier, we used to say essential nutrient element are 16. But now additionally, we have included the 2 new nutrients to the list of the essential nutrient element. That is cobalt and nickel. Totally, we are having 18 essential nutrients. And all the crop plants to complete their life cycle, and all the crop plants to complete their normal life cycle, all these 18 essential nutrients should be available to the crop plants from day of germination to the day of harvesting. Suppose out of these 18 essential nutrient elements, whether 1 or 2 essential nutrient elements are found to be deficit in the soil, then plant will never complete its normal life cycle. Kindly understand the meaning, the normal life cycle. Even the soil is deficit with more number of nutrient elements, either 4 or 5. The plant will complete its life cycle. Once the crop is set to be germinated, it has to be come to harvesting. It has to complete the normal life cycle. It has to complete its life cycle. While completing its life cycle, we have to understand whether this crop is completing its life cycle with lot of problem, or this plant is completing the life cycle with a normal condition. That is very much important. Suppose, to say an example, I will going to release one variety today in case of rice, and I will tell the productivity of this rice variety is around 50 quintal per hectare. Kindly remember, today I will going to release one rice variety, new rice variety, and I will say that the yield potential of this crop is 50 quintal per hectare. If we grow this rice variety in 1 hectare area, we will going to get a yield of around 50 quintal per hectare. When this 50 quintal yield per hectare can be realized by that variety? When all these essential nutrient elements are supplied in a normal range, then only we can able to harvest a 50 quintal of yield in 1 hectare area. Suppose, let us assume in that soil, there are 2 to 3 essential nutrient element is deficit. Can we expect the rice variety to give a yield around 50 quintal per hectare?
No, sir.
Whether it's possible?
No, sir.
Speak out.
No, sir.
No. Why? Why it is not possible? See, out of 18 essential nutrient, 15 will be available and only 3 will not be available.
Sir,
Why can't
one
we
nutrient perform its specific function, sir.
repeat?
Each nutrient performs its own specific function, sir. Hence, it doesn't contribute to the greater yield, sir.
Okay, then
Sir, all the 18 are necessary, sir. If you even one is also deficient, the life cycle cannot complete, sir.
okay, fine. Then
Nutrients cannot be replaced by other nutrients.
fantastic. Then see, all these 18 essential nutrient elements will not be available to the crop at one stage of the crop. The seedling stage require macronutrients. The vegetative stage required macro and secondary nutrients. Then after vegetative stage, the micronutrient uptake will going to be increases in the plant system. That is to say that the plant life cycle is classified into different stages: seedling stage, early vegetative stage, grand vegetative stage, reproductive stage, and flowering stage, and then harvesting stage. All the nutrient uptake by the croplands varies from one stage to the other stage. And also the nutrient requirement by the croplands will vary from one stage to the another stage. We can't apply the macronutrients as we wish. That's why for each and every crop, we are giving the schedule of the fertilizer application. At the time of sowing, how much the quantity of fertilizer should be applied. At the time of vegetative phase, what kind of nutrients and how much nutrient should be applied, like this. And before going for fertilizer recommendation, now we will know about what is the meaning of nutrient element, what is the different terminologies and classification of nutrient element, and later part of this lecture we will going to study the individual role or the physiological function that will going to be performed by the each and every essential nutrient element. A mineral element should be taken place in the crop. There should be availability of nutrients. If the element is involved in plant metabolic function and the plant cannot complete its life cycle without the element, kindly understand this statement. A mineral element, mineral means it is a mineral nutrient element, is considered as essential to plant growth and development only when if this element, nutrient element, is involved in plant metabolic function. Suppose
if any nutrient element is not involving in plant metabolic or metabolic function means it is a physiological function. If any nutrient element is not involved in the physiological function in the plant, then that nutrient element should not be considered as an essential nutrient element. If any nutrient element to be classified under the essential nutrient element, must and should that nutrient element should be involved in physiological function, that is called as metabolic function. And even with the absence of a single essential nutrient element, the plant cannot complete its life cycle, normal life cycle. Definitely the plant will complete its life cycle after germination, but it will never complete its normal life cycle. That's why one should ensure that after the sowing of the crop, after the germination of the crop should going to be uptake all the essential nutrient element. In order to uptake all the essential nutrient element, we have to take a utmost care to maintain our soil fertility status at a higher range. Then we'll study around some basic terminologies. There are around 6 to 7 basic terminologies. One should understand that. That is, the first is essential nutrient element. I have already told, if any nutrient element to be considered as an essential nutrient element, that should be involved in the metabolic function. A essential nutrient element is essentially required by all the plants to complete the life cycle, and its relative deficiency produces specific deficiency symptom. Suppose, to say an example, rice require around 100 kg nitrogen per hectare. If you want to grow rice crop in 1 hectare, that rice crop requires 100 kg. Suppose in soil it is around 50 kg or 60 kg, then that is said to be a deficient. It is not supposed to meet the nitrogen requirement of the crop. That is deficit by another 40%. Then that crop will start showing the deficiency symptom. Then we have to recognize this deficiency symptom. Then we have to apply the remaining 40 kg of nitrogen. Then only the plant can be able to complete its normal life cycle. Then this is the meaning of essential nutrient element. This essential nutrient element is that nutrient element that is essentially required by all the crop plants. What I told, there are 18 essential elements for all, whether it may be a cereal crop, whether it may be a pulse crop, oilseed crop, or flower crop, or vegetable crop, or commercial crops. That doesn't matter at all. All the classification of crops require these essential 18 nutrient element to complete their life cycle. If this nutrient element is not available at a sufficient range, then this essential nutrient element will going to show the deficiency symptom in the plant system. Second thing, beneficial element. First thing we have discussed, the essential element. The second thing is called as the beneficial element. What is the meaning of beneficial? Essential element is essentially it is required. There is no second thought at all. What is the meaning of a beneficial element?
These elements plant
Even without these elements, plant can complete its life cycle, but it enhances either metabolism or growth of a plant, sir.
Excellent. Keep it up. Your name? Good name?
Hemant MJ.
Fantastic. See, beneficial elements, these are the nutrient elements which is not essentially required. There is no thumb rule for any crop that these elements should be applied. And there is no need of applying externally through fertilizers to the soil, to these crops. Just see, we already know about the origin of the soil, the color of the soil, or the chemical property of the soil, or fertility of the soil. It all depends upon from which rock that the soil have been formed. So the parent material will going to describe from which parent material the soil have been formed. That will going to tell about the fertility of the soil. Some soils will be with the rich source of nutrients. Some source are the poor source of nutrients. All those things will going to be depend upon the rocks. So that is the parent material. And this is the 18 nutrient element that is essentially required. After that, some other nutrient elements is also there that is not essentially required. Suppose if we apply that nutrient element and these beneficial nutrient element are specific to this specific crop, kindly make a note of it. Beneficial elements are specific to the group of crops, and these beneficial elements are not required by all the group of plants. Increase their growth and development.
Paswannappa, off your mic. Paswannappa.
And it is not a thumb rule to apply this beneficial nutrient element to all the crops. The crop does not, any crop for that matter, they will not ask these elements. Only they will concern about these essential 18 nutrient elements. They will ask, if you not apply, they will show their symptom. But these beneficial elements, if you apply, they will take. If you not apply, they will remain quiet. They will not show any deficiency symptom or not. And Okay, participant is 83. We will start later. The rest of them can join the class.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay, fine. So there is no thumb rule to apply this beneficial element to all the crops, and the croplands will never demand for these beneficial elements. They will complete their normal life cycle without this beneficial element, and the requirement of this beneficial element is only for certain group of crops only, not for all the group of crops. Only for those group of crops we can think over. If the farmer is capable enough to apply that nutrient element, then only we can able to recommend the farmer to go for application of this beneficial nutrient element in order to increase the growth, development and yield of the crop. And one should not think that by applying this beneficial element, the crop can able to increase the yield significantly. That never possible in the croplands. Instead of getting 50 quintal per hectare, if we apply silicon, example, silicon is not classified under essential nutrient element. It is classified under a beneficial nutrient element, and silicon is considered as one of the beneficial nutrient elements for rice crop. Suppose if we go for application of silicon, it will never increases the yield of the rice crop, but rather it performs some specialized function in the croplands, especially in rice. Example, if we go for application of silicon, the strength of the stem will going to be increases, and also the leaf thickness will going to be increases. And because of the increase in the leaf thickness, there will be decrease in the incidence of the blast disease in case of rice. This is blast is one of the deadliest disease in case of rice crop. In order to reduce the incidence of blast incidence in case of rice crop, one should go for application of silicon. And that is the first thing. Second thing, if you go for application of silicon in case of rice, it will increases the strength of this. It will going to increases the strength of the stem of the rice plant, so that the rice plant will going to show the resistance for lodging. There will not be any lodging at the time of harvesting or at the time of maturity. Whether it may be a high wind velocity, either it may be a high rainfall, the lodging percentage will going to be reduces in the rice plant. Like this, only certain group of plants will expecting this beneficial element because of their specialized physiological function or any other metabolic function, without any increasing the yield. One should make a note of it. Beneficial element will have some other metabolic functions to be performed in a particular group of crop without any increasing the yield of that particular crop. Next is the available nutrient. What is the meaning of available nutrient? Anyone? Whether all the nutrients that is present in the soil will be available to the crop plants?
No, sir. Some may be in compound form, so they may not be available to the plant.
Just say in soil, we will say this soil is deficient with this nutrient. Say for that statement, we should not understand like that. That nutrient will never be present in the soil. Suppose, to say an example, majority of the Indian soils will have a huge amount of phosphorus. Because of the continuous application of phosphorus fertilizer, the concentration of the phosphorus is become more beyond the normal. The high level of accumulation of phosphorus takes place in the Indian soils. But still we advise the farmer to go for application of phosphorus for every crop. Why? Already a huge amount of phosphorus is accumulated in the soil. Still for each and every crop, we recommend the farmer to go for application of the phosphorus, because whatever the nutrient that is accumulated in the soil, that is in the fixation form, that is not in the ionic form. Any nutrient element to be considered as an available nutrient, that nutrient should be present in the soil in the ionic form, because the plant will going to take, or the plant will going to uptake the nutrient in ionic form only, not in a compound form. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ?
Yes, sir.
For this, okay, when a favorable soil factor and also the environmental factor holds good, then only this compound form will going to be converted into ionic form, because of the various chemical reaction that will going to be takes place in the soil. Then available nutrient is that portion of the nutrient in the soil, is that portion of nutrient in the soil that can be readily absorbed and assimilated by the plants. To say an example, let us assume in one soil 100 kg of nitrogen is present in the soil. How much? 100 kg. Let us assume in one type of soil 100 kg of nitrogen is present. It does not mean that all 100 kg of nutrient will be uptake by the croplands, that is available for the uptake by the croplands. No, out of 100. Hello?
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದೆ ಸರ್.
Out of 100 kg, only 50 or 60 kg of nitrogen will be available, and another 40 kg of nitrogen will be fixed in the
ಹಲೋ ಸರ್, ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಹಲೋ
ಸರ್, ಇವಾಗ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದೆ ಸರ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್.
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಇವಾಗ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದೆ ಸರ್, ಆಗ್ಲೇನೆ ಹೋಯ್ತು ಸರ್.
Okay, fine, no problem.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್, ಓಕೆ.
Functional nutrient element. Many a time, this question is a compulsory question for your multiple choice question. There are two scientists you have to remember with respect to this nutritional classification. That is, one is the scientist who coined the term essential nutrient, and also the scientist who coined the term the functional nutrient. The scientist who coined the functional nutrient element is Nicholas in 1961. You have to remember this. It is defined as an element that play a role in plant metabolism, whether or not that role is specific or indispensable. Kindly remember, any nutrient element to be considered as a functional nutrient element, those nutrient elements should involved in metabolic function, plant metabolic function, and this plant metabolic function or the role of that particular functional nutrient element is either specific to specific crop or it may be indispensable. Sometimes the role of this nutrient is highly required. Sometimes the role of this nutrient is may not be required. Simply it may stay very silently in the crop plants. That is say about a functional nutrient element. It is defined as the element that play a role in plant metabolism. Kindly don't confuse with respect to the word the essential nutrient element or the functional nutrient element. There is a slight changes or slight thinking is required to understand the difference between these two. Essential nutrient element is that is compulsory, that is essentially required by the crop plant. But functional nutrient element, it is also required, but their role is highly essential or specific to specific group of crops by this crop plant, by a nutrient element. Then the next is deficiency of nutrient element. What is the meaning of deficiency of nutrient element? Say when the required amount of nutrient is not gained by the crop plants, then each and every plant show the respective characteristic deficiency symptom. Say as a human I can say I am feeling hungry, I need food, but plant they can't say. They can able to, instead of speaking, the plant will show some characteristic color. See in general, if there is no deficiency for any crop plant or nutrients, then the plant will looks very darker in greenish, dark greenish color. Suppose if there is any imbalance with respect to the any essential nutrient element, then the plant will start showing their respective each and every essential nutrient element. If there is any deficiency, each and every, that is 18 essential nutrient element will show the 18 different types of deficiency symptom in the crop plants. Suppose nitrogen, that is yellowing in the older leaves, and the same, the yellowing of the older leaves, the complete older leaves will be converted into yellowish color. That will going to tell us about the deficiency of this nitrogen. And the same yellowing of nitrogen, yellowing of the older leaves will never be shown by any deficiency of any other secondary nutrients or micronutrients. Like that, the deficiency symptom is specific to the specific nutrient element. The deficiency of nutrient element, when the concentration of this essential element is low enough to limit the yield severely and distinct deficiency symptom are visible, then that element is said to be deficit. Not only decreases the growth and development, and also it will going to be decreases the yield of the crop if any nutrient element is not available at the optimum level or at the required level. Then sufficiency of nutrient element. Sufficiency means the crop requires around 100 kg of nitrogen, but the soil can able to supply around 120 kg of nitrogen. Whether this sufficiency of nutrient element will going to increases the yield in the crop plants? Hello?
No, sir.
Why?
Optimum is required up to till that, then it will utilize, and if more is there, then it might be harmful to the plant or toxic to the plant.
No. See, sufficiency, the word sufficiency is different from toxicity. You don't think about the toxicity. I will come to that point later. Sufficiency means, hello? Tell me, madam, tell me.
So because the plants have achieved this optimum maximum level of growth and it requires that only in enough amount, and the extra will not do any extra advantage to that plant. So even if we require.
Okay. Say sufficiency level means instead of requiring 100 kg of nitrogen, if the soil can able to supply 120 kg of nitrogen, the plant will uptake the extra 20 kg of nitrogen. That extra 20 kg of nitrogen uptake by the crop plant will never going to increases the extra yield in the crop plant. That will just increases the concentration of that uptake nutrient element in the plant system. But this extra uptake amount of nitrogen will never increases the yield of the crop plants. That will just increases the concentration of that particular nutrient in the plant system. That is called as sufficiency level. And this sufficiency level is quite different from the toxicity level. Kindly remember. All the sufficiency level will never be go to the toxicity level. The toxicity level is extreme point. When the toxicity of nutrient can be observed, the toxicity of nutrient can be observed when the nutrient element will be present in enormous level in the soil other than the other essential nutrient element. To say an example, to let us understand, the nitrogen, the requirement of the rice plant is around 100 kg. The soil is capable of supplying 200 kg. This extra 100 kg of uptake of nitrogen by the crop plant will going to decreases the uptake of other essential nutrient from the soil. And in the entire plant system, only the concentration of the nitrogen will be overloaded. Then the condition is said to be a toxicity level. In the sufficiency level, along with the uptake of the excess amount of nitrogen, the plant will also able to uptake the normal uptake of the other essential nutrient. But in the toxicity level, the uptake of one nutrient, excess uptake of one nutrient element will going to suppresses the uptake of other essential nutrient element from the soil. And this over uptake of the particular only one type of nutrient element will increases the enormous concentration in the plant system. That will going to leads to the toxicity of the nutrient element. Whether have you cleared the difference between sufficiency and also the toxicity?
Yes, sir.
And tell me that what is the difference between sufficiency and toxicity?
So in case of sufficiency, sir, the plant will be able to approximate the over requirements, means up to normal limit. But in case of toxicity, the doses will be more than that of normal. So it would lead to the accumulation of that extra amount, and maybe like it will lead to the toxicity of the nutrients.
Still, you are not clear the point.
Sir.
Say, tell me, Pa.
Sir, in sufficiency, sir, the uptake of excess nutrition does not affect the uptake of other nutrients, sir, while in toxicity, it affects the uptake of other nutrients.
Yes, that is very good. In sufficiency level, the plant will uptake more than the required or more than the optimum level without affecting the uptake of other nutrient element. But in toxicity condition, the plant will uptake as compared to the normal requirement by affecting the uptake of other nutrient element. That is called as toxicity level. Then another is the last terminology is the critical range of nutrients. What is the meaning of critical range? Whether this critical range of nutrients will remain similar for all the crops? Why? Because the yield potential level varies from one crop to another crop. In general, cereal crops are said to be high yielding crops as compared to pulse crop. That's why the nutrient requirement of the pulse crops is very less as compared to cereal crops. So the critical range of nutrients varies from one crop plant to another crop plant, and this critical range of nutrients is depend upon the yield capacity level of the crops. And critical level is nothing but it is the concentration of the nutrients in between the range of deficiency and also the toxicity or sufficiency. The concentration between the deficiency and also the sufficiency, that is called as the critical range. Below the critical range, the plant will show the deficiency symptom. Above the critical range, the plant will show the sufficiency symptom. Sufficiency symptom means how we can able to realize the sufficiency symptom. They will not able to show any sufficiency symptom. Simply we can feel that there will be phenotypically increase in the plant growth and development. That range of nutrient in the crop plant is called as critical range. Critical range means the concentration of the nutrient in the plant system that falls between the deficiency of the nutrient and also the sufficiency of the nutrient is called as the critical range of nutrients. Have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ankita Verma, AMB
Yes, sir.
0022. Madam, can you able to define the beneficial nutrient element?
So beneficial nutrient elements are those neutral elements which are not absolutely essential for the main metabolism of the plants, means without it also the plants complete its growth and all, but if they are present they enhance the plant growth and development. So
It's excellent. Keep it up. And Anusha LS 0020.
Sir,
Madam, can you able to define the functional nutrient element? Feeling sleepy?
no, sir.
Tell me. Define functional nutrient element.
Sir, I don't know, sir.
Madam, I will mark certainly absent, madam. Certainly, there is no mercy. Why you have not understood?
Sir, there's
What I told in the
There-
beginning of the class?
Sir, they are the elements which are essential for the plant growth and development. And they are involved in the plant metabolic functions.
Okay. Madam, this is the status. Take it from me. I have to face a tough time. You are from
Sir, I'm from Chikbalapur.
Chikbalapur. I think there is no network issues in your area, right?
No, sir.
What I told in the beginning of this class, if anyone needs to be clear anything, just stop me at any point of time. I told you, right?
Yes, sir.
And one more thing to all, I may stop my lecture at any point of time when I get any doubt regarding you people to get it clarified that whether you people are understanding or not. Simply covering the syllabus, that never become in my mind. for last your second year, you get it clarified from them. I used to continue the metrology course for 1.5 semester. I never used to complete the syllabus within time. I used to go very slowly, and my student should be different from anyone. There is no hurry for me to complete this. Clarity define the difference between the essential nutrient element and functional nutrient element.
Sir, essential nutrient elements are required by all the plants, and then their deficiency produce specific deficiency symptoms. And then, sir, next, sir,
Tell me, madam.
essential elements and then
Functional nutrient element.
functional. So it play, sir, it play important role in metabolism.
Okay.
It is specific for or specific crops.
Whether can we able to consider this functional nutrient element as essential nutrient element?
Sir, no.
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 If we not consider that as an essential nutrient element, then we have to consider this as a beneficial nutrient element.
Sir, it's not functional nutrient element. Sir, the question is not clear.
What is the difference between essential nutrient element and functional nutrient element?
Sir, if any deficiency in essential nutrient element cause specific symptoms, sir.
Okay.
Okay. And in functional nutrient elements,
Functional nutrient element means those are the nutrient elements. They have to involve in metabolic function.
Metabolic function.
Since they are involved in the metabolic function, can we consider the functional nutrient element as an essential nutrient element?
Yes, consider, sir.
We have to consider.
It is considered, yes.
But the performance of the nutrient element, that is the range, how much amount of physiological metabolic activity of one nutrient element, they will keep on vary from one plant to another plant. To say an example, zinc. Let us take a zinc nutrient element, that is a micronutrient element that play a major role in case of rice crop. Okay, then you come to the sugarcane. The role of zinc is not much more similar to the rice crop. It will perform very little function in the sugarcane crop, but it is essential only. But its role is not that much as like a rice crop. That is called as the functional nutrient element. The function, that is the capacity of that nutrient element to perform the metabolic activity, is specific to the specific crop. Some nutrient element, they perform more in some crop and then they perform less in some other crop. That is called as the functional crop. This is the actual difference between the essential nutrient element and the functional nutrient element. Right?
I see.
Govind 0068. tell me about the critical nutrient element.
Sir, I didn't get it.
You are from
Kerala, sir.
Kerala. What you are doing, man, when I explain?
Sir, I didn't get the definition.
Huh?
I didn't get the exact definition.
You didn't get the exact definition.
Like I didn't I couldn't memorize it, the exact definition. It should
You always answer me.
it was the maximum range of like it lies between sufficiency and deficiency of an element. That and also like it is the maximum range of up to which nutrient can be like taken in by the plant. More than it, it becomes sufficiency. If it is less than that range, it becomes deficiency.
Yes, that is the critical level is considered as the optimum level. That lies between the deficiency level and also the sufficiency level. If the concentration is less than the optimum level, that is called as deficiency. If the concentration above the optimum level or critical level, that is considered as the sufficiency. Right?
Yeah.
Fine. Then another important thing, you mark this slide for 2 marks. Definitely you are going to get this question for your external examination. That is the criteria of essential nutrient element. Whether you have known this, the criteria of essential nutrient element?
Yes, sir.
I think your the physiology course is going on or not?
No, sir.
No. Okay, fine. Then tell me. There are 3 essentials. Say any nutrient element to be considered as a essential nutrient element, or any nutrient element to be included to the list of essential nutrient element. That nutrient element should fulfill the 3 criteria. Have you understood? Any nutrient element to be considered as a essential nutrient element, or any nutrient element to be included in the list of essential nutrient element, then that nutrient element should follow 3 criteria, or that nutrient element should fulfill the 3 criteria. The first criteria is the deficiency of one essential nutrient element makes the plant to, it will never make the plant to complete its normal life cycle. Out of 18 essential nutrient element, let us assume zinc. There is a deficiency of zinc in the soil. The plant have not uptake a sufficient amount of zinc. Then it is impossible for any crop plant for that matter, whether it is a cereal crop, pulse crop, oilseed crop, or any flower crop, vegetable crops, any crops. The plant will complete its life cycle, but it will never be complete its normal life cycle. If any crop said to be, it will never complete its normal life cycle, means there will be reduction in the yield of the crop. There will be reduction in the yield of the crop. That is the first criteria. That is, the deficiency of one essential nutrient element makes it impossible for plant to complete its normal life cycle. Why it will never, the deficiency of one nutrient element will never allow the plant to complete its normal life cycle means that will going to be explained in the second essential criteria, that is the deficiency is specific to the particular element and can be corrected only by supplying of that particular deficient nutrient element only. To say an example for this, the second criteria say that suppose if any crop is showing the deficiency of any particular nutrient element, to take an example, nitrogen. Plant is showing the nitrogen deficiency symptom. And if we want to correct the nitrogen deficiency in the crop plant, we need to apply nitrogen only. Without applying the nitrogen, if we go for application of phosphorus, or if we go for excess application of potassium, or if we go for excess application of any other micronutrient, the deficiency of the nitrogen will never be corrected in the plants. We need to go for application of nitrogen only, then only the deficiency of nitrogen will going to be rectified and corrected by the plant system. That is the second point. That is the deficiency of the deficiency is specific to the particular element and can be corrected only by supplying of that particular element only. The deficiency of one nutrient element cannot be corrected by the application of other nutrient element. Kindly remember this. If you want to correct the deficiency of a particular nutrient element, we need to apply that particular nutrients only. The third is the element to be considered or to be listed under essentially nutrient element. That nutrient element must and should involved in the metabolic function in the plant system. Suppose if any nutrient element it is not involved in the metabolic function of the plant system, that nutrient element is not find a place in the criteria of essential nutrient element. It will not find a place in essential nutrient element. Must and should, that nutrient element should involved in the physiological function or metabolic function. This criteria of essential nutrient element is made by a scientist, Arnon and Stout, in 1939. These are the two scientists. They are all great scientists. They have classified the essentiality or essential criteria of the nutrient element. And you should remember this. The first is Nicholas. In 1961, they have coined the term
Excuse me, sir. Sir.
It's audible?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Have you understood the three criteria of essential nutrient element?
Yes, sir.
Anyone in the
Yes, sir.
class to anyone in the class to explain that? You're going to get 1 marks bonus. Anyone?
It was classified by Arnon and Stout, sir.
In which year?
Uh, 1939.
39.
1939.
39.
This is very much important here. You have to remember. Fine then.
The element must be absolutely necessary for growth and reproduction of the plant. And without without these elements, the plant should not able to complete its life cycle, sir.
Okay.
And second one, requirement of that element should be specific and it cannot be replaced by other elements, sir.
Okay.
And third one, it must be directly involved in the metabolism of a plant, sir.
First and should it has to be involved in
Metabolism of a
function
plant.
of the crop plant. Fine. Then only we can able to consider that nutrient element as
Essential nutrients.
essential nutrient element. Fine.
Nice, sir.
Hemant MJ.
Yes, sir.
You can, while finalizing the internals, you can comment, inform me so that I will going to mark AMB 0075. You will going to get 1 marks bonus.
Thank you, sir.
Fine. Done. And left with another 2 slides. I will going to take around 5 to 6 minutes. Later we can end up this because the classification of essential nutrient element is very important. Say, I told there are 18 essential nutrient elements. Whether these all the 18 essential nutrient elements are required at the same amount by the crop plants?
No, sir.
Why?
No, sir. Different levels, sir.
It varies, right?
Yes, sir.
Some crops require in more amount. Sorry, some nutrients are required in more amount. Some nutrients are required in a medium amount, and some nutrients are required in a very trace amount. That is based on the amount of nutrient required by the crop plant. Once again, I will going to repeat. Kindly make a note of it. Based on the amount of nutrient required by a crop plant, these essential nutrient elements are classified into 3 types. Based on the amount of nutrient required or the amount of nutrient taken up by the crop plant, the nutrients are classified into 3 types. One is major or macronutrients. Sometimes, while as you advance with the courses in 2nd year, 3rd year, many teachers will going to say only major nutrients, or some will going to use the macronutrients. You should not get confused. Both major and macronutrients both are similar. And how to define this major or macronutrients? These are the nutrients which are required in a larger quantities by the crop plants to complete their normal life cycle. They are required by in a larger quantity. That is mainly nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These three nutrient elements are classified under major or macronutrients, that is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These three nutrients are required in a larger amount for the crop growth and development. Then secondary nutrients. What is the meaning of secondary nutrients? These are the nutrients required in a lesser quantities. These are the nutrients required in lesser quantities compared to major nutrients. Suppose if nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium is required around 100 kg, these secondary nutrients are required around by 30 to 40 kg. They are required in lesser quantities. Example, calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. Don't get confused. And many a time in multiple choice question, they will going to ask the following nutrient element is classified as a secondary nutrient element. Major nutrient element only 3, that is NPK. The secondary nutrient element is only 3, that is calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. Then the third classification is a micronutrient. What is the meaning of micro? As name indicates, the micro, it is required by very in small quantity by the crop plants. Suppose if this small quantity is also not available in the soil, then the plant will going to show a characteristic deficiency symptom. And now in India, kindly make a note of it. Among micronutrients, zinc deficiency and iron deficiency is become more common. With respect to Indian condition, the universal, with respect to Indian condition, the common deficiency, micronutrient deficiency that will going to occur in all the agroclimatic zones of India is zinc and another is iron. And how to define a micronutrients? These are the essential nutrients that required by the crop plants in a very trace quantity, in a very small. Trace means very small quantity. Example, iron, manganese, copper, boron, molybdenum, zinc, cobalt, and nickel. Kindly remember, the first classification is major or macronutrients, that is NPK. The second classification is secondary nutrients, that is calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. And rest of the nutrients, they are classified under micronutrients. That is, it may be iron, manganese, molybdenum, boron, cobalt, nickel, zinc. These are the micronutrients. This is the classification of an essential nutrient element based on the quantity required or based on the nutrient uptake. Have you understood? Have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Can anyone able to explain? Or can anyone able to repeat? They will going to get 1 marks bonus.
Sir, essential nutrient elements are classified into 3 groups based on the quantity required. The first group include major or macronutrients. These are the nutrients required in large quantities by the plants. The example is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. The second group is secondary essential elements. So these are required in the lesser quantity than the major elements. The example is calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. The third group is micronutrients. These are the nutrients which are only trace amount is needed for the plant growth and development. The example is copper, molybdenum, zinc, cobalt, nickel.
Iron, zinc, all those things, right? Chinmayashri, you are from?
Sir, I am from Hassan, sir.
You're from Hassan. Okay, you can get your 1 marks bonus at the time of finalizing your internals. You have to remember me. I will never remember. Right? After finalizing the internals, you can come and you can get your 1 marks bonus. Then the second group of classification, see, this is the reason why my students used to get more in internals, because simply covering the portion without discussing, without giving an ample of opportunity for you to involve in the discussion, there is nothing in the lecture that is considered as a dead lecture. So, and also by giving one exam, I can't able to evaluate you completely. Who knows, some may have any kind of problem at the time of exam, so that you can, even though you know the concept well, you can't able to prepare well. All those things we have to consider. That is the reason why I will going to give this type of opportunity for you people, so that all the student can able to involve in the discussion. Then the second classification, that is based on the, hello?
Excuse me, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, what does it mean when you say that the secondary nutrients are required in lesser quantities than major nutrients? Means, is there any fixed value, sir?
No. There is no fixed value. We can't say any fixed value, but we can able to give a range. To say an example, nitrogen. Okay, I will going to give an example with respect to rice crop only. Say the recommended dosage of fertilizer for rice crop to grow 1 hectare of rice, the quantity of nitrogen required is 100 kg, the quantity of phosphorus required is 50 kg, and the quantity of potassium required is 50 kg. Then the quantity of sulfur required is around 15 kg, 15. Calcium is 15 kg, magnesium is 10 kg, and sulfur is 15 kg. This is how the quantity will going to vary. And the secondary nutrient element, if there is any deficiency in the soil, certainly they will going to show the deficiency symptom, and that will going to limit the yield. Suppose if this nutrient element will going to be present in the more than the optimum quantity, and there will be having antagonistic effect, that will going to be discussed in the later part of the class. There is no fixed value. I will tell you one thing, whether the soil is high fertile, whether the soil is medium fertile, whether the soil is low fertile, it will never decide the uptake of the nutrient by the crop plant, because the nutrient requirement by the crop plant varies from one crop plant to the other crop. And some crop plants, they will be having the architecture, they are suitable for uptake of more macronutrients as compared to uptake of secondary and micronutrient. Or some crop plants will be having a root architecture, they are more beneficial or more favorable for uptake of secondary and micronutrients as compared to macronutrients. Like that, it all varies with respect to the crop factor and also the soil factor. But in general, we will say the quantity is more, we should apply more quantity with respect to macronutrients, a medium quantity with respect to secondary nutrients, and lesser quantity with respect to micronutrients. Say, it is all in, if you go and see the package of practice of university, compulsory the farmer should apply nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. We will never give the dosage for the application of calcium, magnesium, sulfur and all other micronutrients. When we will going to tell the farmer, when we will going to advise the farmer to go for application of secondary nutrients and micronutrients, when the soil is found to be deficit with respect to those nutrient elements. Suppose if soil is not said to be deficit with respect to secondary and micronutrients, then there is no need for the application of secondary and micronutrients in form of fertilizers. But it is not true in case of macronutrients. Whether the soil is said to be high fertile, medium fertile or low fertile, must and should we need to apply the macronutrients, that is nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. That is must, because to say an example, if you want to get 50 quintal of yield from 1 hectare, the nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium will contribute around 40 to 45 quintal of yield. The remaining 5 quintal of yield will going to be contributed by the rest of the nutrient element. That is why we always insist the farmer to go for application of more amount of macronutrients. Compulsory, whether the soil is high fertile, medium fertile or low fertile, that doesn't matter. We need to apply the recommended dose of NPK. Suppose if you go and see any textbook or any package of practice or any other scientific reports, if anyone say what is the nutrient demand of crop, we will just restrict the nutrient recommendation only for NPK. We will never tell the recommendation for secondary and micronutrients. When soil is said to be a deficit with respect to secondary and micronutrient, then only we will advise the farmer or any other progressive farmer or any other scientist to go for application of the secondary and micronutrient based on the soil test value only. Have you get it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, your CR is just testing me that time is over. Then this secondary classification we will going to complete in tomorrow's class. And tomorrow
Thank
at
you,
what
sir.
time? Tomorrow at what time we will be having class?
Sir, third session, sir.
Okay, tomorrow we will do one thing. We will complete all this nutritional aspect. Tomorrow I will going to take 2 class, 12 to 1 and also in the evening 5 to 6. Right?
Next
Okay, sir.
Adalnias, kindly mute your speaker. Are you agree with my time?
Yes, sir.
12 to 1 and also from 5 to 6.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay.
Okay, take care.
Thank you, sir.